If you've been going through it in 2021, raise your hand. Hi. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mika, and today I'm going to finally be sharing all of my favorite books that I read in 2020. So I did a poll on my Instagram and I asked you all what video you'd want to see from me, and this video won. Also, I'm very active on my Instagram, so it'll be linked down below if you guys want to follow it and kind of get updates on my life and updates on my filming and stuff if I'm not updating you all here. I know I've been gone for quite some time. I missed you guys. I literally have been wanting to film a video for so long, and I'm happy that I'm finally feeling up to it. I don't know what it was about January, but it felt like it lasted 8 years. Also, I am sitting in like a different area than I usually film in. Usually I stand in front of my bookshelves and film, but I wanted to get like comfy. I have my cute little Valentine's Day blanket from Target. I feel very much in the Valentine's Day spirit, and I just wanted to be comfy while we chit chat about the books that I read last year. So first things first, I do want to say thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. Literally my last video I worked with Book of the Month, so I'm sure you guys know exactly who they are and what they do, but if you don't, I'm going to explain that to you really fast. So Book of the Month is a monthly subscription service, and you basically get to pick 1 out of 5 different book picks every single month, and they curate these picks by basically going through like the most anticipated reads so that you don't have to, and it's amazing. It saves time for the reader and for the person subscribing, because not everyone has time to just look through all of the most anticipated reads for that month. And they also have such a great selection of books that you can choose from, ranging from YA to adult to nonfiction to fiction, etc. If there's a specific genre that you like to read, Book of the Month most likely will have a pick for you. They sent me over their 5 book picks for the month of February, and I'm going to show them to you guys. So the first book I'm really excited for, I actually didn't even know that this was going to be a February pick for Book of the Month, and that is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. And so Honey Girl is actually about this girl who is getting her PhD, and she's pretty much a straight A student. She is very cookie cutter, good girl, I do what I'm supposed to do, and she goes on a trip to Vegas and ends up drunkenly getting married in Vegas, just out of the blue. But yeah, this is the first book pick for the month of February. The next book is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. So this one takes place during the Great Depression, and it has a lot of serious tones, and it kind of just focuses on what life was like during that time and the American dream and what it meant to follow the American dream. This next book is a stunning cover. I feel like you can't really tell how pretty it is on camera, but it's called Infinite Country, and this is by Patricia Angel. So I believe this book is about a girl who is sent to a correctional facility, and she basically has limited time to kind of find out how she can get back home to her family in Colombia. This is really cool. My best friend is Colombian, and I honestly have never really heard of that many Colombian stories, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. The next book is The Kindest Lie by Nancy Johnson. This is a debut novel about the American dream, which clearly there is a very similar theme we have going on here. So the last book pick was Girl A by Abigail Dean, and I believe this is a mystery, and the little description says you can flee your parents, you can bury your secrets, but you'll never leave behind what your siblings know, what you all share. This sounds really interesting. I highly recommend you guys go on the Book of the Month website and check out the synopsis for this, because I love me a good mystery. I love true crime, all that kind of stuff. So if any of those books sounded interesting to you, you can use the code FEBREADS using my link down below in the description. You will get your first book for $9.99. Usually all of these books go for about like $25 to $30 because they're adult hardcovers. So getting your first book for $9.99 is a steal, as always. And thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's get into the books that I read and loved in 2020. So I have a mixture of books that I own and don't own. So I'm gonna start off with one that I don't own, which I honestly need to get because I loved it so much. I think I read this in November or December, so it was one of like the last books I read of 2020, and that is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. Y'all, I loved that book so so much. If you don't already know, You Deserve Each Other is basically a second chance romance book, and it was a very interesting take on a second chance romance because the characters were still together, which with most second chance romances, it's not usually like that. It's very much they broke up years ago and they got back together, you know, but the main characters in this book are actually engaged, so it's a lovers to enemies to lovers, and I loved every second of it. I think the thing that I loved the most about it was that it shows how relationships take compromise and it takes work, and not everything is going to be rainbows and flowers and happiness all the time, and that it's important to communicate your feelings in like a normal, healthy way. I think this concept was just something that hasn't been done before, and I really loved the way Sarah Hogle did it. I was scared because at first when I went into the book, I really wasn't expecting to like it. It started off kind of slow and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this that much. I'm just not vibing with the characters. But as the story went on, you got to see their character development as they communicated more and talked more and just progressed their love for each other more. It was just such a good book. Y'all, if you haven't read You Deserve Each Other, I highly recommend. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I literally couldn't put the book down. I haven't read a book in one sitting in ages, but I was able to do it with that one. And it also just made me kind of sad because like your girl is hella single, and I think I'm in need of a reread of that book just so I can feel a little bit of serotonin. So the next book on this list is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, and I read this for the Penguin read along last year summertime, I believe, so it's been quite a minute, and this is one of those books where I'm so upset it took me so long to get to, because I had been planning on reading this for ages, around the time I think the second book had been out, and I just never picked it up. I don't know what it was, but I just never picked this book up, and when I finally did, boy did I fucking regret that, because this was so good. This is more of like a new adult fantasy, follows a lot more serious topics than most YA fantasies follow, and also the characters are a lot older. Well, not a lot older, but they're a bit older than like the typical YA fantasy. Everything that I thought I knew about this book, throw that out the window. Literally nothing that I expected to happen in this book happened. Things were happening back to back to back. I was constantly kept on my toes with this. It was just an overall amazing book. So the next book that was a favorite of mine in 2020 was The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. This book, y'all, was so funny. The banter, the romance, everything about it, I absolutely adored. This book basically follows this girl who gets left at the altar, and her ex-fiance's brother happens to be the reason behind all of it. And so fast forward a few years later, they actually end up having to work together on a project that's completely unexpected. So it is enemies to lovers, and she's basically obviously holding a grudge against this man because he's the reason her ex-fiance left her at the altar. But yeah, everything about this book was really funny. I want to say the only thing that was a miss for me was the smut scene. I definitely wouldn't go into this book expecting like steamy smut or anything like that, but it was a fun time and it was a good time, and the romance was really cute, and the banter between the characters was also really cute. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I've talked about it a few times on my channel. I feel like the next book I should just get it over with because I know you guys are already expecting it. House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. I said that with such little enthusiasm because I know y'all are booing at your screens right now. Not because the book is bad, but because I talk about it so freaking much on my channel. I love this book, okay? I love Sarah J Maas. I just love everything she writes. She hasn't written a bad book, at least to me, yet. This book was everything I could have wanted in 2020 and more. Like, I feel like something shifted in me after I read this book last year, and it hasn't been the same since. It's just a happy moment. I'm not going to talk about it for too long because, again, you guys already know how much I love this book. If not, you could probably click on any of my past few videos and I talk about this. So yeah, if you haven't read this, 10 out of 10 would recommend, but that's coming from someone who is Sarah J Maas trash, so do what you will with that information. I can't wait for the next book. Like, I can't wait. Has she even started writing it yet? Like, Sarah, if she's never gonna watch this video, but like, let me know, please give us something. So the next book I read around the same time that I actually read Crescent City, and that is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. So I had gotten the arc for both Chain of Gold and Crescent City, and these books came out on the same day, so I knew it wasn't going to be possible for me to read them on the same day. It just, my brain wouldn't be able to handle that amount of power that would be released into the universe. I can easily say this is one of my favorite Cassandra Clare books. I love Cordelia so much. She's also one of my favorite Shadowhunter characters. There's just a specific feeling you get when you read a Cassandra Clare book. I'm sure if you read a Cassandra Clare book, you know what I'm talking about, but there's just something about the Shadowhunter world that I love so deeply and dearly. I didn't give a rating on the last 2 books, but they were 5 stars. So okay, so the next 3 books I'm going to talk about are all books that I don't own. So let's talk about My Time in the Affair by Stylo Fantôme. That book really took me by the neck and caught me by surprise. This book is about this girl who makes a active choice when she's given a chance to basically go work abroad for a few months to cheat on her husband. I'm laughing and I know it's not funny. Like, cheating is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form, but I was expecting to absolutely hate this book. It was interesting being in the mind of the main character because you got to see what led up to her actions and why she made the choices that she did. And even though a lot of the time you did want to scream at her and be like, girl, just tell him you don't want to be with him anymore, tell your husband it's over, whatever, you kind of understand why she makes the choices that she did, even though they might not be the best ones. It's one of those books where you definitely have to read it to understand and to see why she made the choices that she made. But I'm actually really happy I picked it up. I think I was just on like a Stylo Fantôme kick because I was reading her Degradation series and I was like, I just love her writing and I want to read more. If you've read that book, I really want to know your thoughts and like how you felt about the plot and where it went and all of that, etc. Next up, I want to talk about Miss Mariana Zapata, and that is Luna and the Lie. I was scared to read Luna and the Lie because it's one of her older books kinda-ish, and it didn't have like the best ratings compared to her other books, but it's one of my favorites that she's written, which is so funny. And that just goes to show that like you don't have to always listen to what other people say, because even though it wasn't her highest rated book, it was on the lower scale of rating wise, I think I liked it way more than a lot of her other books. Which, don't get me wrong, I love me my Miss Mariana Zapata, okay? Like, her books always hit for me. It was kind of sort of like an office romance, but not really. The main character is a mechanic and the love interest is her boss-ish, kind of. Long story short, they basically work at the same place. I love office romances or like work related romances. I feel like Mariana Zapata sprinkles crack in the pages of her books or something because they're so addicting. Her books are massive. If you've ever read a Mariana Zapata book, you know that it's most likely going to be a slow burn and it's most likely going to be really long, but I read them all in one sitting or like up to 1 to 2 days. It never takes me more than like 2 days to read one of her books, and they're just so good, especially if you are a slow burn type of person. I honestly didn't think I liked slow burns until I read Mariana Zapata. So with Luna and the Lie, I think I just related a lot to the main character and how she handles situations and how she handles people in her life and how caring and loving she is. Like, I loved everything about that main character, and I think that's what made me really like the book a lot more. I just need Mariana Zapata to write a man into my life. Like, what does a girl have to do to get a man like a Mariana Zapata man? Like, you know what? The reason why men in romance books are so perfect is because they're written by women. What a scam. Like, what a fucking scam. I feel like men need to take classes by reading romance books so they have like a guideline on how they need to act. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Yeah, Luna and the Lie by Mariana Zapata. I basically read almost every single one of her books at this point, so I'm gonna need Homegirl to come out with some more soon because I need content. And then next up we have The Unrequited, and this is by Saffron A. Kent. This is a dark romance book, so go into it only if you are ready for some dark shit. It is a teacher-student romance, but college, so professor-student romance. And it was a lot, I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot. I think I read it in the beginning of 2020. So much happened in that book, I feel like I couldn't even really tell y'all what it was about other than the fact that it was a teacher-student romance, and it was just so dramatic. I loved the drama. Saffron A. Kent writes a lot more on the darker side of dark romance, so definitely look up like the trigger warnings and stuff before going into any one of her books. And then moving it back to the YA fantasy genre, next up, a book that was a favorite of mine was Sorcery of Thorns, and this is by Margaret Rogerson, who is the legend of writing YA fantasy standalones, in my opinion. It's crazy because I had an arc of this book, but I think I realized I got the arc, like the e-arc, way too late. I think the book had just come out or was coming out, and I was like, okay, well, what's the point of me reading this? Like, I don't care. And also, it got so many mixed reviews. I was letting people's opinions of it kind of deter me from reading it, and I regret it so much because this book came out, what, in 2018? And it was 2020 when I finally decided to pick it up, and I wish I read it sooner. I'm kind of mad at y'all for not telling me to read this one sooner. But anyways, I think Margaret Rogerson is the best at writing YA fantasies because even though it did move a little bit slow in the beginning, the world building wasn't too heavy that you could tell, oh, like she's about to go overboard with this, but it was slow enough that you understood what was going on. So when you got to the, you know, climax of the story, everything just like clicked and made sense, and it wasn't just like a what the fuck is going on right now. I'm just thinking back to like how I felt when I read the ending and how I felt when I just read the book in general. So freaking good, so freaking good. And then last but definitely not least, we have Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, and this is another book that I definitely talk about a lot on my channel, and I probably won't ever stop talking about it because it is that good. But this is a King Arthur retelling, and as you can tell, there's a beautiful black girl on the cover. Y'all, just go and read this book. It's also compared a lot to Cassandra Clare's City of Bones and like the Shadowhunter world, which I definitely get. There's a lot of demon hunting and love triangles and drama, and I definitely feel like if you're a fan of Cassandra Clare, you would absolutely love this book. So everyone say thank you, Tracy Deonn, for writing this masterpiece. I've gone through the top 10 books that I enjoyed in 2020. Make sure to check out Book of the Month and use the code FebReads to get your first book for $9.99 while using my specific link down below in the description. If you made it to this point in the video, leave down a pink heart emoji in honor of my pink heart pillow. Also, make sure to follow me on all my socials. It'll be linked down below. My Goodreads, as well as my Instagram, Twitter, etc. I'm really active on my Instagram, and also most of these books will be in my list in my Goodreads, so if you want to check out the synopsis, you can down there. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in my next one very soon. Mwah. Bye.
East and the west, racking up on my bread, power on me, I'm feeling just like a Tesla. Too much tree, the smoke is making my chest hurt. Girl on me, I'm thinking I should've rest her. Hey, I'm thinking I should've rest all night long. She putting me to the test. Got a lot on, I'm trying to take out the rest.